So at the beginning of the story, we see Father Brain, they had come to meet Father Harry in the renovating church, who had committed some very big sin, and here this feeling, this beginning thing, gives us a wipe-like exit. Well, now Father Harris shows the photo of a small girl named Kiana to Father Brennan. On seeing this, Father Brennan says that she looks like a normal human girl, but on questioning and insisting a lot, Father Harris tells that this girl is not normal. Her birth was not normal. Kiana was born in an unnatural way, but he does not tell anything openly and starts feeling sad thinking about his crime. Then in a flashback we see that some ritual was being done on a girl in which she is made nude and made to lie down, and a black cloth is put on her mouth so that she cannot see much. The girl was very scared, but then she hears the sound of someone's heavy breathing which was coming towards her, and something wrong happens to this girl. Well, now Father Harris starts going out of the church, then Father Brennan. They follow them. Now Father Harris was about to tell something when a pole and glass break and fall down. Initially it seems that everything is fine, but as soon as Father Harris turns, the pole tears through the back of his head, and he mysteriously turns forward and dies laughing, with which the scene shifts to Rome 1971. Now at this time, civil rights protests are going on in Rome, when Margaret Dino, who has been living in America for 21 years, is called to Visor Delhi and finish in Rome, where she was about to take her vow to become a nun. Now Father Gabriel and Cardinal Lawrence come to welcome Margaret, who used to be a father here earlier. Now the cardinal was very happy to see Margaret as if his own daughter had come. Well, now Margaret goes to the orphanage where there were mostly girls, and here she meets 4 people. First of all, Sister Sylvia, after which Sister Angelica, who behaves a little strangely, a young girl named Charlotte, who she is an artist, and makes very cryptic sketches like a lady was tied to a bed, and there were nuns around her, and Margaret finds her strange in the very first meeting. In fact, Carly also licks on Margaret's face, which is picked up by Sister Sylvia. Now Margaret also has a naughty roommate who used to go to clubs and parties secretly. Now Margaret takes stock of the whole orphanage where she keeps seeing strange voices, visions, and weird things. Margaret also tries to learn the local language from the girls living there. At the same time, she comes to know that Carlita is kept locked in the bedroom because she gets bad thoughts, due to which this is done to reform her. All these things were being told by the girls who were Carlita's classmates, but Carlita looks much older. In fact, Margaret also saw something similar about Carlita, but Sister Sylvia comes and takes her away. Now at night, when Lodge is there, she dresses Margaret in hot clothes and takes her home with her. She forces her to go to the club and party with her, due to which Margaret has to go. There she meets 2 boys, out of which a boy named Peo starts dancing with Margaret and drinks, although she was already drinking there. Well, suddenly we see that just like Carlita had licked Margaret, in the same way Margaret tries to lick Peo in a drunken state, after which she blacks out. Now the next day she opens her eyes on her bed, where there was a wound near her armpit, which tells that nothing wrong happened. Everything is fine, but then we notice that when Margaret was away from the orphanage, Father Brennan comes to meet Margaret, who tells her that she should not trust anyone in the orphanage, and she must have trusted anyone. She must have heard the name Skiana, on which Margaret remembers that she had seen this name in a photo. Now the father had said that she should stay away from Carlita, and he even gives her his address to meet her, but at the moment Margaret does not believe his words. Now Margaret was building a very good bond with Carlita, and she also had sympathy for her. This was because the nuns were not treating Carlita well. She was kept separate from the other girls. She was always scared and was locked in an isolated room. Then Margaret tells Carlita that she too used to have strange, scary visions in her childhood. This is a common thing. So she is a little comfortable with Carlita, but suddenly she hears the sound of a girl screaming in the orphanage. Then she sees that a girl was being delivered, but Margaret sees as if a demon's hand has come out of the girl's birth canal. On seeing this, she faints again, and the thing to be noted here was that who were the fathers of these girls who were getting pregnant? It is not known what happened. It is possible that some boy must have done wrong to her here, after which she must have come to the orphanage here. Now, after regaining consciousness, Cardinal Lawrence consoles Margaret that this happens. I have seen giving birth for the first time, so all this is a common thing. Now, all the girls and nuns are enjoying outside, and cigarettes were also being smoked there, which I think is a very strange thing here. Well, then Margaret notices that Angelica was talking to Carlita about something, that two secret things. Angelica had a photo in her hand, in which a girl was tied to the bed, there was a baby in her stomach, and nuns were also standing on the side. Now Margaret gets very angry that everything is not right for Carlita. Now Angelica suddenly catches Margaret and kisses her, which was very strange, and even more strange is that no one in the entire orphanage is surprised by this. I mean, this is a very strange orphanage, but what becomes even more strange is when Angelica climbs to the upper floor of the orphanage. She herself, gasoline was sprinkled on her, and there was a noose around her neck. Angelica looks at Carlita and Margaret and says that all this is for you, and she hangs herself by setting herself on fire, which creates chaos in the entire orphanage, and Margaret and Carlita were also shocked by this. Now finally, seeing strange things happening, Margaret decides to go to Father Brennan and reaches the address given by him. Father Brennan says that Carlita is the Antichrist. This orphanage and the church have been doing this together for many years, and now the Antichrist has come to them, who is a threat to the world. He also shows Father Harris's photo of Sienna. Father asks Margaret to bring all the information so that they can stop this, but Margaret does not believe him that nothing like this happens and starts running away from there, but she was ready to give them Carlita's files. Now many children of the orphanage are going to attend an art museum where Margaret is in the bus. Margaret asks Father Gabriel about Khaled's birth, or if he has any information about it. But Sister Sylvia was keeping an eye on him, due to which he could not talk much. But Father Gabriel did not have any information at the moment. Margaret also asks Carlita about her past, and tells her that all this is not real. But Carlita runs away from there, and when she meets Carlita, Sister Angelica's spirit was with her. Margaret gets very scared on seeing this, and Sister Sylvia takes her outside because riots start there and winds start blowing. Then we notice that the same demonic entity is holding Margaret, but in reality there was nothing there. But Sister Sylvia was able to see this thing, was able to notice it, which was alarming in itself. Now Sister Sylvia strictly instructs Margaret in front of all the nuns that she should not be seen near Carlita, and she should go out of the orphanage. In fact, there is no need for her to take a vow, because she is mentally unfit. But Margaret gets angry at Sister Sylvia for doing wrong with Carlita. Now Margaret gets out of the car crying, where she finds Pello, who was dancing with her in the club, but he was afraid of Margaret. Margaret begs him to tell her what happened that night, but he tells her only one thing, that look for the mark, and then due to a terrible truck accident, Pello's body hits the wall. Margaret tries to save him, but instead he is cut in half. Margaret was only holding half of Pello, due to which all the people around get scared, and in this way Pello, who knew the whole truth, is killed. Even then, Margaret apologizes for her sins in the church. Now Laz finally takes her vow to become a nun, and Margaret finds a secret key and goes to the secret basement where a nun named Sienna lives. There were files, but the shocking thing was that there was not just one file named Sienna, but 14 files. Yes, out of which only the recent girl, that is, the 14th girl who is named Carlita, was alive. All of them had a trip S mark on them, that is, the mark of the devil. All the girls were born at 6 a.m. on the 6th of June. All the other girls were killed. Margaret feels that all those girls had undergone deformation, due to which none could survive, and the thing to note is that all of them were girls. There was no boy. The latest birth, that is, Sienna 14th or Carlita, was born in 1959. That means she is just 12 years old now, but she looks much stronger and bigger than the other girls, because here she is the child of the devil, that is, she was not born in a normal way. In fact, it was also written inside the file that she will have to be kept separate from the other girls. Well, Margaret now starts running away with the files, and Carlita, and hides. She goes to the village when the nuns catch her, but Margaret sees a 6S mark on the side of Carlita's mouth, which scares her, and Margaret is imprisoned. Now at night, she gets terrifying dreams of a lady, and that lady also hunts her, who was drenched in blood. Then Father Gabriel comes there and frees her and takes the files directly to Father Brennan, where we come to know that Father Brennan had come to meet Father Gabriel earlier also. But then Father Gabriel did not believe his words, but now, seeing the circumstances, he had faith in Brennan. Now Margaret, Father Gabriel, and Brennan see these files, but Father Brennan's statement about the 66 mark seems strange to Margaret, because there is a 66 mark on the side of Carlita's mouth, and not on her body, about which even Brennan did not understand how this could happen. Now, after checking the files properly, it is seen that all the girls had a 666 mark on their bodies, but Sienna 14, that is, that Carlita did not have this mark on her, which means that the girl who is in Father Harris's photo, Sienna, is someone else. She is not Carlita, she is someone else. Antichrist. This thing even shocks Father Brennan that the people of the devil's cult have played a trick and misled everyone. In fact, Father Harris did not give full information, or Brennan did not decode it properly because he had said that this girl would be in her teens, which means she would be 18 plus. I think they made a mistake here, and it is obvious that here this is not a murder mystery, but this is about the devil, about the Antichrist, and it was not that easy to solve it. But here, leave aside one. There was no room for even 001 error. But here a complete mistake was made. Now the files are rechecked, in which the photo of Sienna F. was missing in the file, and the photo of Father Harris fits perfectly in this file, which means that apart from Carlita, her Anna F. was also alive, that she was born in 1950, and today she would be about 21 years old. Yes, you understand that the Antichrist is none other than Margaret herself, with whom Margaret now remembers things about the club night, that what happened to her that night. So actually that night Pelo was found inside the club, and whatever happened here, it was all a well-thought conspiracy, making her drink, making her dance. Everything was under a well-thought plan. So the nuns of the orphanage together did the same demonic ritual with her as had happened with the lady in the beginning, who I think must be Margaret's mother, who was coming in her dreams and visions. A demonic entity came and got physical with Margaret, and as soon as she remembers this, she also remembers Pelo's words that look for the mark. That is, there was a path of 6S on her head, and that was Sienna 5. Now actually the orphanage kept her away for so many years so that this ritual could be done with her when the right time comes. But even now things here people do not understand what has been done to her here. And if she is not the Antichrist, then who is the Antichrist? That is, things were still not clear now. Margaret had understood that something wrong has happened to her. There is some problem in her stomach, and she wants to get an abortion out of fear because there was nothing demonic inside her mind. She did not want this, due to which Father Brennan and Gabriel start taking her away, but the people of the orphanage cause her an accident, due to which Margaret survives, but she starts becoming demonic as if this power of her body is saving her. Now Margaret, who was a slim dream till now, was absolutely fine. Suddenly her stomach swells. That is, this child has grown so much in a few days, and this is the day of the 7th of June, and it was about to be 6 o'clock in the morning in a short time. Now the most shocking thing is that Sister Sylvia, Cardinal Lawrence, and Lass are also involved in this. In fact, the whole orphanage was involved. All this was planning, and now Lawrence finally reveals the real cards here. He tells that he himself is not the Antichrist, but he was trying to find a way for so many years to bring the Antichrist to Earth, because the Antichrist can only be a male who will be able to contain his powers. That is, the vessel should be a male. So he called a satanic entity, Jackal, who can bring the Antichrist to this earth by being intimate with his own offspring. That is, his own child. Yes, the girls till now were the children of this demonic Jackal. That is why Father Harris had said that these are not natural girls. First of all, this Jackal did this ritual of intimacy with normal girls here, due to which only 2 children were born out of 14 girls, which was fine. One was Sienna F., that is, Margaret, born in 1950, and the other was the recently born Sienna 14, that is, Carlita, born in 1959. Well, now Margaret has 2 children here, a boy and a girl. They were not interested in the girl. They were only interested in the boy who also has the mark of 66 on him. And this child is the Antichrist. Everyone was very happy, and initially Margaret also hugs the child, but she understood that this child is a danger to the world, due to which she takes a surgical knife and first kills Father Lawrence, that is Cardinal Lawrence, and then was about to kill the child as well, but this does not happen. The people of the orphanage snatch the child, and Lass, who was Margaret's roommate, stabs Margaret in the stomach with a sharp object, due to which Margaret falls down there. Now, Sister Sylvia orders to set Margaret and her child on fire. Both will die because they had got what they wanted. But Carlita had love for Margaret in her heart. She comes and saves her and the little child, where Margaret sees a burning jackal in front of her who had assaulted her. The scene cuts, and we see all the nuns have a meeting. One of the nuns tells about a big American man who was about to have a son. Their plan was to kidnap his son and give him their Antichrist. That is Margaret's son, who the Antichrist. That is Margaret's son will raise her in a good family, according to the plan. The rich man is given the Antichrist. That is Margaret's son, who grows up after some time. The scene cuts. On the other side, we are shown Margaret, Carlita, and Margaret's daughter, who is living far from everyone at Snowy Area. We're living like a happy family. That today, Father Brennan comes to them. Margaret stands up against him and tells him to please leave. Father says, "Okay, I'll leave. I didn't come to disturb you. I just came to tell you that the people of Orphanage knows that you are alive, and that your life could be in danger, and yes, your son is also alive." After telling this, Father Brennan leaves, and this story ends here.